Hello, I'm sure that you already heard about Lovable. Maybe you even created apps and websites on it. But what happens, for example, when you want to go from Lovable to infrastructure as code on Azure, AWS, GCP? That's why I wanted to create this quick video to show you how you could go from Lovable to Infracodebase using GitHub as a bridge between the two products. So let's get started. Let's say, for example, that you already worked on this project. Then next thing we are going to do is that we are going to connect our GitHub account, and I'm going to use Terraform Infracodebase. So you could use obviously already your GitHub either personal or organization GitHub account. So here I'm going to view it. It was pretty fast. This is the GitHub that we already created. Now we can go on Infracodebase. We can directly import it from GitHub and still choose Terraform Infracodebase. Here is the one I wanted, so it's called Retro, and it's this one. So here now, we already imported it. Now, next step is basically to connect our Terraform MCP, and see here is like, here, for example, tell me about this code base, then use Terraform MCP to write the secure and valid Terraform code and follow, for example, the Azure best practices. As you could see, it was very straightforward. I went from my project on Lovable, then here, my project on Lovable, then GitHub, then Infracodebase. And now, it will help me understand the code base. I already using the Terraform MCP. Perfect, is able to detect all the languages that were used. And now, you could directly see all the steps that it's doing. So you have 7 steps that is performing, as you can see, creating the Terraform infrastructure following Azure well architecture framework, set up secure, here Azure static web app, and so on. So the git ignore has been created. So we only need to follow the steps here. Step 1 done. So here is creating the folder with the providers, the version, the variables, the locals. So as you can see, I'm always doing a back and forth between my prompts, the AI chat here, then all the files that are creating. So I make sure that I'm always in control. Then here the data.tf file. So already within, let's say, minutes, it created the data.tf, the locals, the providers, the variables, the versions. And now we just need to follow all of the steps. The main.tf with the modules, as you could see here. And as you can see, it's already hundreds of lines of code. monitoring. This file as well, so everything is working perfectly. Now, because I won't like to keep the video under the 15 minutes to be able to share it with you on LinkedIn, I would just pause it for a few seconds. So here we could look at all the files that we were able to create. So the version.tf, like I was showing you earlier, the variables, the Terraform tvars example here, the security.tf, the readme as well that you can open and to be able to really read it. Then here the providers, the outputs, the monitoring, the main.tf, the locals, the data, the backup. Here now we can actually look at the summary, read the summary, what he was able to perform in terms of action. Here, in terms of web architecture framework, the security pillar, the reliability one, performance, cost optimization, operational excellence. So he basically performed everything that we wanted. So now we can say create the breakdown cost file and include it in the Terraform folder. So now after security, after the modules that we created and everything, now we want to focus on the costs. We really want to understand like how much is going to cost before provisioning it. Is already understanding why we want to do this kind of analysis, as you can see, for budget and cost management across different environments. Then after we can build cost optimization scenarios as well. So now I created, as you can see here, the cost breakdown. You can of course make it bigger. He also created the cost management.tf file. As always, you always have like the summary of what he was able to perform. And then now we can say create. So include, for example, here, if we want to clean it, include all the non-Terraform files into a specific folder called Lovable. Perfect. So now like that we can keep everything clean. So I have the Terraform here that we created, and I have all the files that already was created by the GitHub repo when we imported it. So like that is way more structured now. You have way more visibility on the project that we built together. So here we can look at what everything has been performed, the new project structure, the key changes that have been made. And now here we have two specific folders, one Lovable, one Terraform. Here we have also the README that we can check and look at with the cost, everything that has been done. Here we also have the deployment guide here, if we want. And now what we want is like commit all the changes to the main branch. So now we want to update basically the GitHub repository that we had, and that was only including the Lovable project. So now, as you can see, it's commenting the infrastructure, all the organization, and then we will check it. So now, as you can see, everything has already been committed. You have the repository that we will open, all the files that are changed with all of this addition, infrastructure delivered following the Azure Web Architecture Framework, the complete cost management system, project organization, the way it did it, and then it's ready for deployment. Now what we can do is that we can here go to GitHub, and here you have Lovable, you have Terraform, you have the README and the entire documentation. So this is what you can do as well when you're using Lovable. So here I have this project. From there, I can actually create this one, meaning create this repository. I imported it on Infracodebase. I followed here the Azure Web Architecture Framework best practices, and then I worked on it, and then I created a new GitHub, or I should say updated the existing one by including the Terraform here with all the files and so on. So I hope this video was useful, and if you have any question, as always, please ping me. I would love to help you build your own use case and your own work on Infracodebase.